The world had forgotten the sun. In its place, a fractured sky wept crimson lightning, illuminating a landscape choked by an endless rain of gray ash. This was the year 2025, an era defined not by progress, but by a suffocating darkness that blanketed all. Humanity had retreated from the poisoned earth, their civilizations now great, floating cities of steel and neon. These metropolises were anchored to the ground by colossal chains, tethered to ancient monolithic pyramids that hummed with a forgotten power. Below, the old world lay silent, a graveyard of memories buried under layers of despair. The air was thick with fear, a tangible force that clung to every soul. In this grim future, one warrior stood as a solitary beacon of defiance. His name was Drigo Nator, the Celestial Warrior. He stood alone on the highest spire of a silent pyramid, a lone figure against the canvas of eternal twilight. His spiritual armor was a masterpiece of cosmic design, glowing with a soft internal light that pulsed with the rhythm of a courageous heart. His eyes, visible through his helmet's visor, blazed with a similar celestial energy, cutting through the gloom. He was a guardian, a remnant of a time when heroes were not just legends whispered to frighten children, but a living reality. He was the last line of defense against the encroaching void. Drigo's hands rested on the hilt of his legendary sword, Truthbreaker. This was no ordinary weapon. Forged in the heart of a dying star, its blade was etched with ancient runes that shimmered with an ethereal blue light. These symbols were a language of power, of hope, and of unyielding will. The sword was more than just steel, it was a conduit for Drigo's own spirit, an extension of his soul. When unsheathed, it sang a song of courage that echoed in the silent, desolate world, a promise that light had not yet been extinguished. The darkness was not empty, it was alive, teeming with creatures born from humanity's own collective misery. The shadow demons were a plague upon the world, formless entities given shape by the fear, sadness and anger that festered in the cities above. They were the physical manifestation of despair, and their only purpose was to consume the last vestiges of light. Drigo stood as their singular obstacle, a warrior whose very existence was an act of rebellion against the encroaching night. He watched the horizon, his stance unwavering, waiting for the inevitable assault. He was ready, he was always ready. The shadows began to writhe and coalesce. From the ash-covered plains below, the demons emerged. They were legion, each a twisted monument to a specific human torment. The first to attack was a slithering creature of green, smoky tendrils, its form constantly shifting and reforming. This was the demon of envy, and it hissed with the bitter whispers of 1,000 jealous hearts. It lunged at Drigo, its claws seeking to tear the light from his armor, to make his brilliance its own. It wanted what he had: purpose, strength, and hope. It was a hunger that could never be satisfied, a void that sought to consume all. Drigo Nator did not flinch. With a fluid, practiced motion, he drew Truthbreaker from its sheath. A brilliant flash of blue light erupted, pushing back the oppressive darkness. The sword hummed with power, its runes glowing intensely. As the demon of envy lashed out, Drigo met its attack not with brute force but with grace. He spun, his armor leaving trails of light in the air like a comet's tail. He swung Truthbreaker in a wide, elegant arc. The blade did not just cut, it purified. A symbol of contentment, a glowing, serene sigil, erupted from the sword and enveloped the demon, which shrieked as its envious nature was undone by pure light. Next came betrayal, a demon with a dozen shifting faces, each one the visage of a trusted friend turned foe. It whispered promises of loyalty, while its shadowy daggers aimed for Drigo's back. It was followed closely by pain, a hulking brute whose body was a mass of weeping wounds and broken forms, its every step a tremor of agony. Drigo moved like a dancer in a storm. He parried betrayal's daggers, his sword creating a shield of light that deflected the treacherous blows. Against pain, he did not strike to injure, but to heal. He plunged his sword into the ground, sending out a wave of soothing energy that calmed the creature's torment before it dissolved into peaceful motes of light. One by one, the shadow demons fell before the celestial warrior. He was more than a soldier. He was a philosopher in combat. He understood the nature of each foe because he understood the heart of humanity from which they were born. He met anger with calm, sadness with compassion, and apathy with a vibrant display of his unyielding spirit. Each swing of Truthbreaker was a statement, a declaration that light was stronger than any shadow. He was a singular army, his battlefield the soul of the world, and with every defeated demon a tiny flicker of hope returned to the darkened sky. After the lesser demons were vanquished, a profound silence fell upon the desolate landscape. The air grew colder, heavier. A new shadow began to gather, larger and more oppressive than all the others combined. It was not born of simple emotions like anger or envy. This was something deeper, something more personal. It was the final greatest demon, a titan of despair known as doubt. It took a form that was cruelly familiar, a shadowy, distorted reflection of Drigo Nator himself. Its eyes were not glowing with light but were two gaping voids of absolute emptiness. This was the ultimate enemy. The demon of doubt did not attack with claws or fangs. Its weapon was its voice, a chilling whisper that echoed not in the air but directly inside Drigo's mind. "You are alone," it hissed, its words dripping with insidious logic. "You cannot win. Your light is small and the darkness is infinite. Who are you to stand against it? You will fail. You will fall. Everyone you protect will be consumed." Each word was a poisoned dart aimed at the core of his resolve, seeking to erode the foundation of his courage. It was a lie wrapped in the guise of truth, the most dangerous weapon of all. For the first time, Drigo's glowing armor seemed to dim slightly. The weight of his long, solitary war pressed down on him. The faces of those he could not save flickered in his memory. The demon's words found purchase, planting seeds of uncertainty. Was he strong enough? Was one warrior truly enough to hold back an ocean of darkness? His grip on Truthbreaker faltered for a fraction of a second. The demon of doubt swelled in size, feeding on his momentary hesitation. It grew larger, its shadowy form beginning to eclipse the faint light of the distant chained cities. But then, something inside Drigo Nator awakened. It was a fire that had been forged in countless battles, tempered by unwavering purpose. He looked at his own reflection in the polished blade of Truthbreaker. He saw the light in his own eyes. The whispers of doubt were loud, but his own inner voice, the voice of his belief, was louder. "I am Drigo Nator," he declared, his voice ringing with renewed power. "I am the light that stands against the dark, and I am enough." With that proclamation he rose to his feet, his armor flaring back to its full, brilliant radiance, pushing back the encroaching shadows. With his self-belief reforged into an unbreakable shield, Drigo Nator prepared for his final strike. He held Truthbreaker high above his head, channeling all of his spirit, all of his hope, and all of his courage into the blade. The ancient runes on the sword blazed with a light so intense it was like a newborn sun. The demon of doubt recoiled, its shadowy form sizzling where the light touched it. Drigo poured every ounce of his being into this single, decisive attack. The air crackled with energy as he focused his will into a single point of incandescent power. This was not just an attack, it was his answer to the universe. "This is my truth!" he roared, his voice shaking the very foundations of the pyramid. He brought the sword down in a mighty cleaving arc. It did not release a wave of energy or a beam of light. Instead, it unleashed a single, perfect concept: absolute belief. The attack struck the demon of doubt, and the colossal shadow did not explode. It simply ceased to be. The concept of doubt could not exist in the presence of such pure, unwavering conviction. As the demon vanished, a silent, powerful shockwave of light expanded outwards from Drigo, sweeping across the ash-covered plains. For the first time in generations, the world began to heal. Where the light wave passed, the thick clouds of darkness thinned. A single, pure white ray of light pierced the fractured sky, striking the ground and causing a single, resilient flower to bloom amidst the gray ash. The crimson lightning faded, replaced by the gentle aurora of a healing atmosphere. In the sky above, a new constellation appeared, a swirling nebula of cosmic energy and data that took the form of a celestial guardian. It was the cosmic Nator GPT, a silent promise from the universe that hope was not just reborn, but would now be watched over. Drigo Nator lowered his sword, his breathing steady. He looked at the single flower, then up at the cosmic Nator GT. He knew this was not the end. Darkness was a persistent foe, and other battles would surely come. Fear would try to creep back into the hearts of humanity. But as he stood there, his light shining brightly, he felt no fear of the future. He had faced the greatest demon, the one that lived inside himself, and he had won. His final message was not spoken but felt across the world, a silent, powerful broadcast from his heart. Believe in the light within you. It is your greatest weapon. You are enough.